Welcome to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast, where we share tips, techniques, and true stories to support you in using the law of attraction and alchemy to create magic and live the life of your dreams. Here's your host, the founder of dailyalchemy.com, Michelle Martin Dobbins.
Hey guys, it is Michelle Martin Dobbins from dailyalchemy.com. And today's episode is a little bit different. I'm going to share with you a review of a journey that my husband and I took almost a month ago. Not quite a month ago. Very soon, tomorrow, I guess. Well, yeah, will be a month. We went to Sedona, Arizona to do a Sedona couple soul adventure. And so, first of all, this is something that you can do as a single. I think actually most people do it as a single person, but it's definitely something also that you can do as a couple. So it was just a hugely life-altering experience thus far in the month since we did it. So I wanted to share with you a little bit. I'll briefly tell you kind of why we decided to do it and then give you a rundown on what it's all about in case any of you are out there or you're wanting to know more about doing a Sedona Soul Adventure. And if you contact Sedona Soul Adventures and tell them Michelle Martin Dobbins sent you, they will have a special treat for you, which is that you would get a free nurturing massage while you are on your Sedona Soul Adventure, should you choose to do one, and you tell them that I sent you. But that is not the main reason that I am sharing this with you. The main reason is it's just a really amazing experience for us. And so whether or not this is an experience for you, I wanted to share with you kind of how we ended up going on this. My husband and I have been married for almost 20 years. It will be 20 years in March 28th. And, we have 4 kids. Life is kind of crazy. And even though I was on a spiritual path when I met my husband, I was still very much numbing out a lot of my emotions. And my husband had some trauma in his childhood that kept him numbing out a lot of his emotions. So, that worked really well. And over time, as we've both been working on ourselves and growing and getting deeper on our own spiritual paths, I think that both of us, I know for me, definitely, I was like, we need help. We need to learn how to communicate because we both grew up in families where there was not a lot of communication. Things weren't talked about. And, sometimes you just get to that point in your growth where you want a deeper connection with the person that you're married to or other people in your life or even just with yourself, right? And so I think for both of us, we were craving that. And I came to him and said, this is a person who I consider a mentor, even though I've never met them, but I've just loved their books and I really want to go to their retreat, their group couple retreat. And my husband was like, nope, did not want to do it for a variety of reasons. So I was like, okay, ball's in your court. We need to do something because it was really wearing on our relationship. We could get along really, really well, but then things would kind of fall apart because we weren't communicating the way I felt that we should. And, some of this is harder for him than me, I think, because since I'm always working on spiritual things and that's not as much his thing as it is mine, sometimes he's like, hey, this has been fine for all our lives. Why is it not fine now? But he actually was the one who found the Sedona Soul Adventure and said, let's do this. And to me, that's just like a craziest synchronicity because I'm totally the one who would pick something like this. And he's the one who found it and chose it. And I don't know if you've had this experience in your life, but for me, there have been times where I just felt like things were destined to happen. And like that thing was going to get through to me somehow. And I feel that way with Sedona Soul Adventures. I felt that way when I found the Unity Church and lots of different other things along the way that like this was definitely my next step, a next way to shift and grow. And so when he came to me with this, I was really excited. I just like had a knowing in my heart that this was like the next step on my spiritual evolution. And, you know, if you know me, I've been doing this since I was 22. I wanted to say 22 years, but it's been longer than that now. I'm getting older. So when we found out that we were interested in the Sedona Soul Adventures, one of the nice things that they do is they give you an angel guide, who is the person who's going to be with you from start to finish of the process. And the first step was we each spent an hour on the phone talking with her about like what it was we would want to get out of this adventure and why we were looking to make changes in our relationship. And if you're single, I think you would just be doing like, you know, how do you want to improve your relationship with yourself? And how do you, what kind of changes do you want to make in your life overall? And so after she talked to both of us separately on the phone for about an hour, then she came back and said, like, this is what I'm recommending. And so it was 4 days, and I kind of have we were there from October 1st to October 4th. Was when we did our soul adventure, but we got there the day before and kind of checked in with them. And then, then we dove in on October 1st. And so every day that we were there, we had like deep work to do. And, if you're someone who's like doing spiritual growth processes on your own, if you spend 4 days where you're like 5 to 6 hours a day, sometimes more, in deep work with practitioners, like you can make some big shifts in 4 days. I know we did. It was crazy, like what we experienced. So like the first day we just went to their office. We met with our angel guide, Regina, who is fabulous, and talked with her a little bit. And then we went to visit a man named Mitra, who teaches people about the Enneagram of self-realization, and he works with it for relationships and also just personally. And if you haven't done any work with the Enneagram, go Google that. Like there are 9 different types, and if you go through like a work with Mitra, you will find out what your type is, but you can go online and find this out too. When we got back, we worked with all of our kids to find out their types, and like it's just like a part of our family conversations now, like how our type affects us and our behaviors and how we can help each other be aware when we're getting trapped into hypnotic thinking that's not good for us. And it's just, I can't even hardly express how amazingly spot on it was. We took the quiz and we handed them to Mitra. And I think I know he knew a little bit about us from Regina and her conversations from us. So he may have had kind of a guess, but he looked at it. And so then he started telling us about how we behave in certain situations and our relationship to each other, even though we hadn't even talked to him yet. And we were just, he's like, is this on track? Is this on track? And we were just like, how do you know these things? Have you been stalking us? It was amazing. But knowing these things, it's so dramatic for helping you see some blind spots. My husband is a type 1, which is a reformer, and they try to teach everybody and tell everybody what to do, which he so does. And their trap is anger. And so it's so funny because now he'll go, oh, wait a minute, that's my type 1 coming out. Let me calm down. This really isn't that important. And it's so wonderful, like how he's made that transition. And for myself, I'm a type 9, which is a peacemaker. And I tend to be a people pleaser to the extreme, which is really hard when you have 4 kids and a husband. You cannot please them all. So, but the trap, for me, is laziness or indolence. And it's really interesting because I'm like type 9s tend to like find a way to numb out and when they get stressed, and that is me to a T. And so now I've learned that the way out they'll tell you a trap for each type, but they'll also tell you like kind of the way out, the wakening up. So for the type 1, anger's the trap, waking up is serenity. So you want to focus on feeling more serene. Whereas for myself, the way out is right action. And I will tell you what, when I am caught in a whirlwind, I often get really frozen and don't take action and don't do the things that I should do. I don't keep up with things in my business and I don't record podcasts. That's why there are breaks. So this was just amazing for me to learn, hey, when I'm stuck, just stopping and getting lazy and like vegging out, going to Netflix and watching things that I don't even care about or reading stupid things on Twitter that I don't even care about is not the way out. The way out is to take right action. So I encourage everybody to find out their Enneagram type and just play with it a little bit. And if you want to get sessions with someone who's trained in it, it is very eye-opening because it gives you what you need to focus on when you get stuck. What is the thing that gets you asleep and what is the thing that will help get you awake? So that was like, we were like, oh my God, session number 1 is done and we got this. We're great. So that was really it was amazing. Then I went to a session by myself, which was called Journey to Empowerment. And you can Google about that. There are different people who are trained to do it. It was an amazing healing session where I went through old emotions and processed them for 3 hours. And just, the stuff that came up and out and was healed was amazing. So that was day 1. And I tell you what, we want to go back to Sedona because we were so deep in what we were doing. And in the evenings, it was like we just sit and process. So we didn't get to see a whole lot of Sedona. We were there, we were seeing the beautiful red rocks all around us, but beyond really seeing other things, we didn't, but it was so worth it anyway. So that was our first day. On our second day, we went to a session for 3 hours with Ron and Jenny, who are this amazing married couple who have been together for 50 years, I think. They're both in their early 80s. They are just, they're amazing. They're fun. But what they did for us, I cannot even, they just went into the core of our souls and helped us see the scared little boy and girl inside and what was behind the fights that we have. If you're like us, I know there are lots of couples who, when they fight, they have the same fight over and over about the same thing. It's just and it was us. Then we realized the core reasons of why we were doing the things that we were doing. And you can't go back from that. When you know why you're doing it, you can start the process, but then you're like, oh, wait a minute. I remember this doesn't make any sense because I'm doing this because of something that happened when I was 5 and he's doing this. And it's very, very freeing, but it's very intense. And I can't tell you how many tissues we went through, both of us. And my husband's not usually a crier. So it was just really intense. And we actually even had another session on communication scheduled that night. And somehow there was a miscommunication and our service provider wasn't there. And I'm a big believer in things happen the way they were supposed to because we really just needed to sit and process that whole evening, which we did. So that brings us to day 3. And we've every day, every session, when we got done, we're that was the most amazing thing ever. We don't even need the rest of it. And then we do the next one. We're oh, wow. So on day 3, my husband went for a workshop by himself. So I can't tell you a whole lot about it, but I do think that he really got some great benefit from it. But it was called Core Belief Transformation Work with Rick, who is Ron and Denny's son. So it was really fun for him, I think. And I did a process called Inner Journey with Breath and Sound with Miguel. And this was really crazy for 2 reasons. One, A lot of the practitioners, you should probably know this before you come, work in their house. Not all of them. Some of them work in offices, but sometimes it's kind of weird because you're walking in somebody's living room you've never met, and the next thing you're crying and hugging these people 2 or 3 hours later. It's just crazy. But, for some people that is like a stress concern, like you're going into a stranger's house. And so when I did this journey with breath and sound, my practitioner was male. And so that has been a kind of soft, hard spot with David and I that we actually ended up working through. And I think that's why it was, because he was really uncomfortable with it. But it was like David did the inner journey the next day with a lady called, he did it later that day with Gwen. And so we both went through this process, and they give you the music afterwards to take home so you can do it again. It's just, I don't really know how to explain it, but you do a special breathing exercise, and they're there to walk you through it and teach you how to do it with this music that has different beats to it. And it's almost kind of trance inducing, but they teach you a way with your breath to be able to get really, really deep into meditation without it being hard. And for me, it was just amazing. It was like I walked outside of my body, and I was in this place where we are all one, and it's a beautiful place. I've experienced it a couple of times before in other forms of meditation, but this was definitely like the easiest way to get there and make it be kind of a repeatable thing. So like for us, this was a big, big thing. And I know that our practitioner even told us that they will not take anybody on the Sedona Soul Adventure who refuses to do the breathwork, breath and sound journey, because it's such an important part of their program. And if you do it on an ongoing basis, it's definitely going to change your life. I'm not doing this process justice, but yeah, if you can learn about how to do it, and especially if you can find a practitioner that does inner journey with breath and sound, especially if you're a person who's had a hard time to meditate, because for me, meditation's been part of my life for since, at least my early 20s. But I had my own form that I didn't even know I was meditating when I was younger and when I was a child. But for my husband, who has a really hard time shutting off sounds in the outside world to meditate, it was really great for him. And he is so funny because he's like, she said, I may go somewhere, I may have this journey. It's like, I didn't have any of that. And they was like, well, I was in this cave and this person gave me this message. I was like, what? No, you totally did. But he was like, well, but it's just my mind playing tricks on me. And I was like, no, now your mind is playing tricks on you. But you did have an inner journey, and you did get messages, and you did get, something really big out of it. So for us, it's been one of the things that we've definitely been working on continuing here. It's not as easy without a person there with you, but it does get easier. But it was amazing. And it was really great too, because that day we worked through a lot of issues that we've had with each other with trust, and the next day as well. But then that night, we had the nurturing massage for 2. And that's the thing that if you say that I sent you and you want to take a soul adventure, that you can get for free. And it was amazing. It was so nice to have this 90-minute massage and just integrate all of the stuff that was happening to us. I'm a person who normally has a hard time with getting massages because I have a hard time relaxing. And it's one of those things in the past I haven't placed a high priority on doing that. I've only really had probably 5 or 6 professional massages in my life. And this one was really, really nice. And I think just all the work that I'd gone through this week up before that really helped me relax and just actually accept the gift of the massage and receive it, because I think a lot of times I just am too tense and block it out, which is why I don't do them very much. The next day was our last day. And we went back with Ron and Denny and did some more work, did some right brain, left brain integration, and just really cemented and improved upon the things that we had done the first time we worked with them, and learned how to let go of some of these old stories from the past, how to heal them. Some of the other things that we learned how to do with them is a form of heart-based communication, where we can talk to each other and actually hear what each other is saying. I hope this podcast comes out okay. I've had to hodgepodge it together because crazy noises and people knocking on the door keeps happening. But yes, Ron and Denny part 2 was amazing, as was part 1. And then we had our last step, which was intuitive integration with Sarah. And that's where she kind of walked us through everything and let us reflect on what happened. And also, she is the person who will be our follow-up coach. And we have our first coaching call with her on this Saturday, I believe. Yes, this Saturday. And interestingly enough, we spent like a couple hours with her in her home, and once again felt like she was one of our best friends leaving. It's just been an amazing journey for us, even 1 month out. I won't say that like we still don't have some work to do, but now we have like all these really cool tools and really cool insights, and it's just been, for us, an amazing journey, a Sedona Soul Adventure journey. And so if you're interested in shifting up a relationship, I highly recommend Couples Journeys. If you're interested in shifting up your relationship with yourself and getting into a deeper spiritual place, I also recommend the Sedona Soul Adventures. And, they may not be the place for you, but so if you're looking and you look at them and they're not the place, I would say set an intention, okay? Because I had the place in mind that I knew was going to be perfect for me, right? And that wasn't the place that I ended up going. But I knew my heart was calling out for like some deep spiritual experience. I knew that my husband and I needed to learn some tools to become better communicators so that our relationship could deepen and be more connected. And voila, we found the Sedona Soul Adventures, which is perfect for us. And if it is for you, that's beautiful and amazing too. But if it's not, don't think that you can't have these experiences. Heck, you can even set up your own adventure. Take 2 or 3 days and plan on doing some work yourself, or like set up local practitioners, find someone who does healing work, find someone who does Enneagram work or different things around you, and set up 2 or 3 days intensive of your own. That can be a really fun healing process too. But just know that you're worth taking time out to do a deep dive every now and then into your psyche, into your spirituality, into learning tools and techniques and methods to help you grow and communicate. And whether that be as a couple or as a single, it doesn't matter. But what matters is just that you realize that you're worth it and you take time to do it. So, I always tell people who are in my classes, especially like when we do Body Love Alchemy or other, any class, that you're worth taking the time to do things that nurture yourself, and that you should be doing something nurturing for yourself every day, and that you should be doing something extra nurturing at least once a week or once a month. And I fully also believe, and it's funny because it just popped up to me, this is kind of the Tony Robbins thing. Like, he recommends people do coaching every week and then do like his events every year, but like, I think that we all benefit from daily, weekly, monthly nurturing, time out to meditate, time out to do whatever feeds our soul. But we're all also worthy to take out 3 or 4 days a year and really focus on our soul growth and nurturing ourselves, whatever way we do it. Sedona Soul Adventures is a great way to do it. I'll be honest, it's not going to be in everybody's budget. If it is in your budget, it is worth every penny. If it's not, create your own soul adventure. You can do it, right? You can do it with yourself. You can do it with your spouse or significant other. It's any time that you take out 3 or 4 days of your life and set an intention to really work this way, it's beautiful. It's amazing. And even whether or not you have practitioners, you can kind of set up, like, go online, find your own techniques and stuff. There are so many like guided meditations and different fun things that you can do and just set up your own soul adventure. But I will highly, highly recommend that if you can pull it off, to have some live practitioners to work with if you set up your own. If you do Sedona Soul Adventure, you've got the angel guide and they pick out what is perfect for you. But you also have that intuitive knowing of what is perfect for you. So like, what if you set up 3 or 4 days and you set up a massage and you set up a healing session and you set up, to go to a yoga class or a guided meditation at a Unity church. I mean, there are so many options. You can definitely set up your own mini soul adventure. And I recommend you take out your calendar today, right now, if possible, and look and find, where do I have 3 or 4 days where I can commit to focusing on this? Because that's the big thing, right? Is to take time out from your normal life and really focus on your soul growth or your growth as a couple. And I wish you the amazing results that we've had. We know that we're still on a growth path, but I just cannot say enough about how much taking those 3 or 4 days and working with those practitioners and learning so many techniques. I mean, we came out with I don't even know how many, but probably at least 8 or 9 insights on things that we can do ourselves just to change our own thinking patterns, and ways to communicate with each other in positive ways where we can actually make changes and not just have that same conversation or that same fight again. So highly, highly recommend that you give yourself that nurturing gift of taking time off and doing that for yourself. And on top of that, don't forget just to do those daily and weekly nurturing activities for yourself. And if you're telling yourself that you don't have time to do it and you can't afford to do it, I mean, you can do this in a variety of ways, as I've said, but just start with doing that daily thing and intend that time and space will open up for you to do that. That's the magic of alchemy. Believing it, seeing it, creating it. So even if you're starting to say, I don't have time or money to do this, set the intention that the time and the money to do what is perfect for you will open up. All right, go out and create some magic on your own journey today. Namaste and big hugs. Would you like some help creating more magic in your life? I've got a ton of freebies and goodies for you. They're all tucked away inside my magical freebie vault. You can get free access, though. You just have to go to www.dailyalchemy.com/magical-freebie-vault. Again, that's dailyalchemy.com/magical-freebie-vault. And when you get there, you can just plug in your name and email and you will get instant access to all kinds of goodies. There are daily and weekly manifesting planners, the How to Shift Your Vibe in 5 Minutes e-kit that has audios and a workbook. There are moon manifesting planners and daily love lists and money trackers and all kinds of goodies right there. I didn't want to make you have to go to a bunch of different pages and sites and wait for certain freebies to come out. So I just took all of my freebies and put them in one place where you could just sign up one time and download any of them that you want at any time that you needed. So you can just head on over to dailyalchemy.com/magical-freebie-vault and download them today. Have a magical day.
Thanks for listening to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast. Connect with me on thedailyalchemy.com or Facebook at facebook.com/Michelle Dobbins, author. Join us next time for even more magical life tips.